We can also finish up on another piece of good news, or hopefully good news, which is the reports that Jurrien Timber is in talks over a new contract. Now, his deal it expires in 2028, so still just under 3 years left to run. But it seems that Arsenal are really keen to tie him down for the long term and also would likely give him a pay rise that reflects his standing in the squad. And I think from what we've seen of him just over the past 12 months after that disrupted first season, no one can deny that he really deserves a bumper renewal, doesn't he?
No, absolutely. Arsenal very, very good and hot on rewarding players for their performances and, like you say, their stature in the team. And Jurrien Timber is absolutely crucial to this Arsenal team. He's brilliant. He's brilliant. I was having a conversation with another journalist the other day, and we were talking about Timber. I think someone asked Mikel, didn't they, in a press conference, is he underrated, Jurrien Timber? And Mikel was like, well, I don't think he's underrated, but I think he probably is. I think outside of Arsenal, very few people really realise just how good he is, because he is exceptional. And I was having this conversation, and we were saying, probably top two or three right backs in the world at the moment. I mean, Hakimi's obviously up there, but what Timber does, no one, you can't beat him one-on-one. He's so good defensively one-on-one, and he's adding so much to his game now going forward. He won the penalty at the weekend. He had a shot that was saved. He's pretty much every single game he seems to be having chances. Now, maybe that telepathy that Ben White has with Saka and Odegaard isn't quite there yet, but it's getting there and it's growing. And he's just been a brilliant signing. He absolutely deserves a pay rise and a new contract to sort of that puts him on the level of where he should be in this squad now. The fact that he's come in and basically, I think it's fair to say now, is Arsenal's first choice right back over someone as good as Ben White, who will still play loads of football, by the way, if he's fit. But the fact that Timber has come in and basically displaced someone who you would have sort of looked at and thought was irreplaceable at times in this Arsenal team, shows how well he does. So it's absolutely going to be deserved for him if this contract does get done, which I'm sure it will. Signs are that all parties are pushing for it to get done, so I'm sure it will, and it'll be richly deserved.
And so yes, especially when you consider that first season he had, I think maybe played. I'm not sure how many minutes on his Premier League debut, but either way, that ACL on his first game and then spending nearly the entire season recovering. He
When you
was
think, when you think that Arsenal missed out on the title by 1 point that season, and you just think, well, Jurrien Timber, if he'd have been fit for that season, it's, to me, Arsenal absolutely win the title if Jurrien Timber stays fit that season. I don't think there's any doubt in it. One point off it, and they had to do without him for a whole year. You think what that would have done to, just have him in the team for a long time, but also allowing Ben White to rest and not run himself into the ground like he did, and have to play, party at right back and things like that at time. I think that Timber injury on the opening day of the season, it was so costly for Arsenal. I think he would have absolutely made the difference in that title race.
hindsight is a wonderful thing, but I think a lot of people would agree with you there. And you spoke there about Ben White being run into the ground. Of course, Timber was run into the ground last season because of Ben White's own injury problems. He broke down towards the end, but he's come back as strong as ever this season. Like you say, defensively, he can be completely, unflappable at times. I think in that Newcastle game, he was pretty much flawless from a defensive aspect. And then attacking wise, he's maybe not the same sort of explosive fullback like maybe a Jeremy Frimpong is, but we have seen his attacking capabilities, especially in that game against Leeds, where I think it was 2 goals and an assist. You said that he's, in your opinion, one of the top 2 or 3 right backs in the world. Is he maybe, one of the most well-rounded defenders in the Premier League as well?
Yeah, I mean, he is, as I said, I just don't think you can beat him. You can't get around. I mean, that Newcastle performance, like you said, flawless. He was unbelievable there on one of the toughest grounds to go. Up against Anthony Gordon as well. He's given an awful lot of fullbacks a torrid time. And he was brilliant. He was so good. And he's done it at the top level. He does it at the Champions League for Arsenal. So he is one of the most well-rounded defenders. It's a brilliant bit of scouting by Arsenal. I remember speaking to Jaap Stam when Arsenal signed him. I know Jaap from my time when he was Reading manager and I was working at the Reading Evening Post then. And so I messaged him after Arsenal signed him. I was like, can you tell me a little bit about Timber, how good he is? And Jaap Stam was really glowing in his assessment of Jurrien Timber, saying that you've signed a really top player there. He's going to be excellent. I did a podcast with him about it. And, um, and everything that he said to me has basically been proven right from what I've seen from Timber so far. So it's a brilliant bit of scouting by Arsenal, worth every single penny. And yeah, the new contract will be richly, richly deserved.